It was the show that America loved to hate and absolutely, unconditionally refused to turn off. In the late 1980s, television was suffocating on sugar-coated morality. Families on other networks gathered around pristine mahogany dining tables, solving all of life's complex emotional crises within a neat 22-minute window, wrapped up with a gentle, heartwarming hug. And then came the Bundys. Before we step into the relentless chaos of suburban Chicago, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Subscribe to Comedalgia TV on YouTube and follow our official Facebook page for your weekly masterclass in television history, lost media, and legendary pop culture. Battles, you aren't just watching a show today, you're witnessing the moment the golden age of wholesome television came burning down. Let's head straight into the archives.
My wife to the beauty parlor. Oh. I had to take my wife to the opera.
I had to take my wife!
Number 15. The No Ma'am Manifesto. Long before Ed O'Neill was immortalized as the ultimate cynical father figure on primetime television, he was an elite collegiate athlete on the brink of NFL stardom. O'Neill was a formidable defensive lineman for Youngstown State University, and in 1969, he was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, during training camp, he was cut under the legendary coach Chuck Noll, a devastating blow that shattered his primary dream and left him functionally broke. Desperate to survive, O'Neill took up odd jobs across Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Married with children, and they can't get the Bundy guy. And this guy's name was Hirschfeld. And he said, guys, you're going to think I'm nuts.
He worked in a steel mill, substituted as a social studies teacher, worked as a linesman, and waited tables at local diners just to keep his lights on. He eventually gravitated toward regional theater, spending nearly 2 decades in complete obscurity while auditioning for minor film roles. When he walked into the audition room for Al Bundy, he didn't put on a dramatic act. He simply brought the genuine, exhausted energy of an ex-athlete whose life hadn't turned out the way he planned. Executive producers Michael G. Moya and Ron Levitt instantly knew they had found their lead. During the production of Season 7, the show's relentless mocking of mid-90s social movements drew intense pushback from real-world advocacy organizations and advocacy groups, who frequently protested right outside the gates of Stage 28 at Sony Pictures Studios in Culver City. Rather than apologizing or softening the dialogue, Moye and Levitt escalated the war by writing the No Ma'am Club directly into the narrative, a hilarious, unapologetic, and highly satirical middle finger aimed squarely at the moral watchdogs trying to censor them. Behind the scenes, tension was running extraordinarily high. Network censors were constantly trying to cut lines from the script on the morning of filming, leading to intense table-read standoffs where O'Neill himself refused to deliver watered-down jokes, standing firmly with the writer's original vision. When Married with Children finally wrapped its historic 11-season run in 1997, many industry insiders foolishly predicted O'Neill would be permanently typecast as a bitter, shoe-selling loser for the rest of his life. O'Neill spent years intentionally taking gritty, serious roles, such as Detective Joe Friday in the 2003 reboot of Dragnet, to prove his dramatic range. But his ultimate industry triumph occurred over a decade later, when creator Christopher Lloyd cast him as Jay Pritchett in ABC's smash hit Modern Family. The show became a global critical behemoth, earning O'Neill 3 Primetime Emmy nominations, multiple Screen Actors Guild Awards, and a massive paycheck that reached an astonishing $500,000 per episode during its final seasons. O'Neill transformed his early career, heartbreaks into a multi-generational legacy, solidifying his status as one of the most successful, beloved, and wealthy patriarchs in the history of American television.
Honey, I'm home! Al Hercules Bundy!
Number 14. Al's Beauty Pageant Commentary. Christina Applegate was practically born into the chaotic ecosystem of show business. The daughter of record producer Robert Applegate and singer-actress Mancy Preddy, her parents separated shortly after her birth, leaving her to grow up in a financially insecure household in Los Angeles. Applegate started acting before she could even walk, debuting in soap operas as an infant and taking on minor commercial gigs throughout her childhood to help pay her mother's rent. By the time she was cast as the famously airheaded, rock and roll-loving Kelly Bundy at the age of 15, she was already a seasoned industry veteran, but she was completely unprepared for the intense, hypersexualized public scrutiny that would follow the show's explosive growth. But during the filming of Season 5, as the character of Kelly Bundy became a major pop culture obsession, Applegate was locked in an ongoing clash with the show's wardrobe department and Fox network censors. The censors demanded that her outfits be toned down to avoid fines, while the producers pushed for maximum edge to compete with rival networks. Applegate found herself caught in the middle of a national media storm, fiercely protecting her personal boundaries on set, while simultaneously working tirelessly to ensure Kelly Bundy wasn't portrayed merely as a passive, dumb blonde punchline. She worked closely with director Amanda Bears to refine her physical comedy and comedic timing, elevating scenes that could have been purely trashy into absolute comedic gold. Behind the scenes, Applegate fought through exhaustion, balancing full-time filming schedules with intense public appearances, all while surviving on a juvenile actor's contract that paid her a fraction of what older cast members made. Determined to break out of the Kelly Bundy box after the series ended, Applegate meticulously rebuilt her career brick by brick. She proved her immense range by starring in the cult classic comedy film Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead in 1991, followed by a celebrated, Tony-nominated run on Broadway in Sweet Charity. She then achieved comedy royalty status by starring alongside Will Ferrell as Veronica Corningstone in the monumental Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy 2004, and its hit sequel. She picked up an Emmy Award for her guest role as Rachel's sister Amy on Friends, starred in the NBC comedy Samantha Who, and delivered a masterclass performance in the critically acclaimed Netflix dark comedy series Dead to Me, which she also executive produced. Beyond her professional achievements, Applegate earned worldwide respect for her bravery in publicly battling breast cancer and multiple sclerosis, making her one of the most respected, enduring, and resilient figures in modern Hollywood.
Too tall? You gotta be kidding me! You're in the scene with me! Peg! Peg! Look who's...
Number 13. Peggy's Lazy Housewife Anthem. Katie Sagal was entertainment royalty by blood, but her path to fame was paved with immense personal tragedy and continuous financial struggle. The daughter of acclaimed television director Boris Sagal, Katie grew up in Los Angeles surrounded by the industry. However, tragedy struck repeatedly. Her mother died of a heart condition when Katie was just a teenager, and years later, her father was tragically killed in a horrific helicopter accident on the set of a movie in 1981. Devastated and suddenly forced to navigate the world on her own, Sagal pursued her primary passion, music. She worked for over a decade as a struggling singer-songwriter, touring as a backup vocalist for legendary artists like Bette Midler as one of the famous Harlots, Bob Dylan, Etta James, and Gene Simmons. She lived paycheck to paycheck in modest apartments, struggling to pay rent between gig tours while constantly suffering rejections from major record labels. When she auditioned for Married with Children in late 1986, the script originally envisioned Peggy Bundy as a depressed, drab woman in sweatpants. Sagal completely rejected that concept. She bought a massive, bright red bouffant wig, high heels, and a tight leopard print jumpsuit with her own money, walked into the audition room, and strutted into the audition as a loud, proud, cigarette-smoking woman who would rather starve her husband than touch a vacuum cleaner. Moya and Levitt were mesmerized. She had single-handedly redefined the show's entire aesthetic. Yet, her time on the show was marred by heartbreak and severe behind-the-scenes negotiations. In 1991, during the filming of Season 6, Sagal suffered a devastating real-life stillbirth, forcing the show's writers to retroactively rewrite an entire season's pregnancy storyline as a dream sequence. A deeply traumatic experience that Sagal handled with immense professional poise. During later seasons, as the show was pulling in hundreds of millions in syndication revenue, Sagal led fierce contract negotiations alongside Ed O'Neill, demanding the cast be compensated fairly compared to executive profits. After Married with Children ended, Sagal orchestrated one of the most brilliant second acts in television history. She voiced the iconic, single-eyed spaceship captain Turanga Leela in Matt Groening's beloved sci-fi animated series Futurama for over 2 decades. She then completely transformed her career by taking on the role of Gemma Teller Morrow, the cold-blooded, fiercely protective matriarch of an outlaw motorcycle club in FX's hit series Sons of Anarchy, created by her real-life husband, Kurt Sutter. Her haunting, terrifying performance earned her a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Drama Series in 2011. Sagal followed this with standout roles in Pitch Perfect 2, The Conners, and Rebel, cementing her standing as one of the most versatile, commanding, and talented screen legends of her generation.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Al, you can't touch this. This is money.
Number 12. The Bud's Dating Life Reality Check. David Faustino started his career almost in infancy, appearing in commercials at just 3 months old alongside Lily Tomlin. Growing up in the high-pressure environment of Southern California's child actor circuit, Faustino experienced the extreme instability of the business firsthand. His family relied heavily on his earnings, but work was sporadic, consisting of small television movies and guest spots on shows like Little House on the Prairie and The Love Boat. When he was cast as Bud Bundy at age 13, he was thrust into a grueling production schedule while going through puberty in front of tens of millions of viewers every single week. As Faustino grew older, the show's writers leaned heavily into Bud's awkwardness, eventually creating his rap alter ego, Grandmaster B, a delusional white kid attempting to be a hardcore hip-hop artist. What few viewers knew was that Faustino was actually deeply immersed in the authentic 1990s West Coast hip-hop culture in his real life. This created immense friction behind the scenes. Faustino fought with writers when he felt the scripts were leaning too far into cheap stereotyping, arguing that Bud's musical obsessions should reflect genuine youth culture rather than just executive jokes. Furthermore, living as a teenager under the intense glare of a controversial network hit brought immense emotional isolation. While his peers were attending normal high schools, Faustino was on set for 12 hours a day, taking studio-mandated tutoring and dealing with intense public harassment from fans who couldn't separate him from his desperate character. When Married with Children came to an end, Faustino faced severe post-child star typecasting that merely dried up his acting career entirely. Rather than giving up, he pivoted into radio, voice acting, and media production. He made history in the voiceover industry by providing the voice for Mako, one of the main leads in Nickelodeon's critically acclaimed animated series, The Legend of Korra, the sequel to Avatar: The Last Airbender. He also created, produced, and starred in the hilarious web series Starving, which offered a self-deprecating look at the reality of being a former child star in Hollywood. Additionally, Faustino became a successful Los Angeles radio host and club DJ, successfully reclaiming his narrative and proving that he was far more resilient and talented than the industry had given him credit for.
And I'll always have time for you.
Daddy.
Now that's a hooter. You see what I mean?
That's a hooter.
Number 11. Jefferson D'Arcy's Gold Digging 101. Ted McGinley's path to television stardom was an accidental fairy tale. A native of Newport Beach, California, McGinley was a star athlete and surfer who attended USC on a water polo scholarship while working as a lifeguard. He was spotted by a modeling scout, which led to a photo shoot in GQ magazine. That single magazine page caught the eye of legendary producer Aaron Spelling, who was so impressed by McGinley's classic American looks that he cast him straight into Happy Days as Roger Phillips without McGinley ever having taken a professional acting lesson in his life. McGinley went on to star in The Love Boat and Dynasty, but a bizarre, unfortunate media trope soon began following him around. The industry critics labeled him the show killer, falsely claiming that whenever McGinley was brought into a cast, the series was nearing its deathbed. When David Garrison, who played Steve Rhodes, abruptly left Married with Children in 1990 to return to live theater, the producers turned to McGinley to fill the void as Marcy's new, lazy, ex-CIA husband, Jefferson D'Arcy. The pressure on McGinley was immense. The cast was already a tight-knit family, and fans were initially deeply skeptical of the change. On top of that, McGinley was acutely aware of his unfair reputation in the industry. However, behind the scenes, McGinley brought a complete lack of ego, an incredible work ethic, and a brilliant, charming comedy style that immediately won over Ed O'Neill and the production crew. Instead of killing the show, McGinley's presence revitalized it, helping push Married with Children through 7 more ultra-successful seasons. Following the series finale, McGinley systematically dismantled the show killer myth forever. He appeared in blockbusters like Pearl Harbor 2001 and Wayne's World 2, took on recurring roles in hit series like The West Wing and Sports Night, and starred in the long-running sitcom Hope and Faith alongside Kelly Ripa. Decades later, McGinley received rave reviews for his performance in the Apple TV Plus hit comedy series Shrinking 2023, alongside Harrison Ford and Jason Segel, solidifying his status as one of the most reliable, beloved, and enduring character actors in television history.
I've heard it all. Too old, too young, too handsome.
Put your feet up, folks. Getting pretty deep in here.
Number 10. The I Hate My Kids Holiday Special. By late 1989, Married with Children was morphing from a sleeper hit into a genuine cultural phenomenon. But its relationship with the network executives at Fox was at an all-time low. Fox was desperate to gain mainstream acceptance and respectability among traditional television critics, and they begged co-creators Michael G. Moye and Ron Levitt to write a classic, warm, heart-wrenching holiday special for Season 4 to build goodwill with conservative advertisers. Moye and Levitt flatly refused. Instead, They took the iconic 1946 Frank Capra movie, It's a Wonderful Life, and turned it inside out. In their version, Al Bundy is electrocuted while installing Christmas lights and is visited by a guardian angel played brilliantly by comedy legend Sam Kinison. But instead of showing Al that his family's lives would be ruined without him, the angel reveals that, if Al had never been born, his wife Peggy would be married to a wealthy, loving husband, his children would be Ivy League scholars, and the entire neighborhood would be a paradise. The script triggered a massive war with network censors, who deemed the premise unreasonably cruel and dark for holiday broadcast. There were heated late-night arguments in production offices, with executives threatening to pull the episode from the schedule entirely. Moyer and Levitt stood their ground, threatening to go to the press if the episode was suppressed. The network eventually relented, and the results were historic. The two-part special shattered ratings records for the Fox network, pulling in over 20 million viewers and delivering the highest-rated broadcast in the channel's history up to that point. The immense success of this dark, unapologetic special altered the trajectory of American television forever. It proved to television executives that adult audiences were starving for cynical, dark, anti-sitcom humor, paving the direct creative pathway for future subversive, animated, and live-action hits like The Simpsons, South Park, Family Guy, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You old dog, you!
I can say the same thing about you.
Now you can say the same thing about her.
Number 9. Marcy's Feminist Rants. Amanda Bearse's journey on Married with Children is one of the most remarkable stories of behind-the-scenes industry power and personal courage in television history. Raised in Winter Park, Florida, Bearse moved to New York City to study acting at the prestigious neighborhood playhouse under legendary teacher Sanford Meisner. She landed early acting roles on the soap opera All My Children and starred as Amy Peterson in the 1985 cult classic horror film Fright Night. When she was cast as the ultra-practical, career-driven neighbor Marcy Rhodes, later Darcy on Married with Children, she was initially framed as the uptight foil to Al Bundy's crude antics. However, Bearse quickly realized that to survive in a male-dominated comedy room, she needed to exert creative influence behind the camera. While acting on the show, she studied television production, shadowed veteran directors, and eventually made her directorial debut on the show in 1991. She went on to direct an incredible 31 episodes of Married with Children, earning the total respect of the entire cast and crew. Her time on set was also defined by immense personal courage. In 1993, at the absolute height of the show's national popularity, Bearse made the brave decision to publicly come out as a lesbian in an interview with The Advocate magazine, becoming one of the very first high-profile primetime television stars in history to come out publicly while starring in a hit show. The move brought significant friction with conservative media groups, but Bearse refused to back down, using her platform to advocate for LGBTQ+ visibility in Hollywood. After the series ended, Bearse transitioned into a master director in Hollywood. She directed dozens of episodes of major television shows, including Dharma and Greg, Reba, Mad TV, Jamie Foxx Show, and Two Guys, A Girl and a Pizza Place. Decades later, she returned to acting in big-screen projects, starring in the critically acclaimed 2022 LGBTQ+ romantic comedy film Brothers, proving that her influence as a director, performer, and industry trailblazer remains undiminished.
His house fills up with a pretty blue light.
Yeah, and he'll be real comfy sleeping on these breadcrumbs.
Number 8. The introduction of Seven. By 1992, Married with Children was entering its 7th season, and network executives at Fox were growing deeply paranoid that the central dynamic of the show was getting stale. Ignoring the warnings of co-creators Michael G. Moyer and Ron Levitt, network executives demanded the addition of a cute, young child character to the Bundy household, a classic network trope used by traditional sitcoms to boost sagging ratings. Child actor Shane Sweet was cast as Seven, an abandoned child dropped off at the Bundy doorstep by Peggy's extended family. The execution was an instant disaster. The addition of an innocent, cute child completely broke the dark, cynical, anti-family tone that had made the show a national sensation. Fans despised the character immediately, viewing his presence as a cheap ploy. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere on Stage 28 became intensely awkward. Ed O'Neill and Katie Sagal felt immense sympathy for young Shane Sweet, who was a talented child actor doing his job, but everyone on set knew the storylines involving Seven were sinking the show's creative momentum. The writers' room was in open revolt against the network mandate. Eventually, after just 12 episodes, Moyer and Levitt made the unprecedented decision to simply stop writing Seven into episodes entirely without giving the audience any on-screen explanation whatsoever. Later in Season 8, The producers cheekily poked fun at their own mistake by placing Seven's face on a milk carton in the Bundy kitchen with the caption, "Missing." Despite the painful experience of being written off TV's biggest comedy, Shane Sweet transitioned into a remarkably successful career as a voice actor and musician. He provided voices for major animated feature films, including Disney Pixar's Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., and The Iron Giant, while also making guest appearances on live-action shows like Star Trek Enterprise. The saga of Seven remains one of the most famous, documented examples in television history of showrunners battling network interference and winning.
And I knew you'd be happy for me, honey. Honey.
Number 7. Al's gambling addiction. Ed O'Neill was deeply protective of the character of Al Bundy. Throughout the show's run, he held weekly meetings with head writers Michael G. Moye and Ron Levitt to ensure that Al never devolved into a simple, mean-spirited caricature who was cruel without reason. O'Neill consistently fought for episodes like Poker, I Hardly Know Her, where Al's deep, tragic flaws such as his hopeless gambling addiction and his desperate attempts to escape his working-class reality were brought to the forefront of the narrative. During the filming of Season 5, network censors were terrified that showing a lead character gambling away his family's bill money would draw severe fines from the FCC and outrage from consumer advocacy groups. Censors repeatedly submitted script edits, trying to give Al a redemptive moment where he learns a moral lesson at the end of the episode. O'Neill personally stepped in, refusing to shoot the revised endings. He argued that the entire power of the character lay in his tragic realism. Al Bundy was a man crushed by the American dream, and giving him a happy ending would destroy the show's core authenticity. O'Neill's relentless commitment to maintaining the integrity of the character paid off in ways no one expected. Drama critics who had previously dismissed Married with Children as cheap trash began praising O'Neill's extraordinary comic timing, nuanced physicality, and dramatic grounding. This commitment to artistic authenticity earned O'Neill universal respect among industry peers, directly opening the door for his legendary, high-earning dramatic and comedic roles later in life.
Don't turn you on anymore.
Oh, she does she? Well, how ridiculous is that? You people don't turn us on anymore.
Number 6. The Bundy truck obsession. In the universe of Married with Children, Al Bundy's rust-covered, non-functional 1972 Dodge Dart was far more than just a running joke. It was the ultimate physical symbol of Al's entire life. It was broken down, completely outdated, held together by duct tape and sheer willpower, yet somehow it refused to lie down and die. What fans never saw on screen was the massive logistical nightmare the car caused for the production crew behind the scenes on Stage 28 at Sony Pictures Studios. Because the soundstage was enclosed, the studio safety crew prohibited the production team from running a real, gas-powered engine inside the building due to toxic carbon monoxide hazards. As a result, the prop department had to completely gut the car's interior, removing the real engine, transmission, and gas tank, and retrofitting the heavy vehicle with hidden electric motors and manual push rigs so stagehands could move it quietly during live studio tapings. During Season 9, when the storyline revolved around the car reaching 1 million miles, the production team went through 3 separate junked vehicles to capture various states of decay for filming. Ed O'Neill developed an almost emotional connection to the prop vehicle over his decade on set, viewing it as the silent third lead of the show. When production finally wrapped forever in 1997, O'Neill personally asked the studio executives if he could buy the car's original, beaten-up steering wheel as a permanent keepsake, a reminder of his transformative decade-long journey from an unemployed, broke stage actor to one of the most famous and highest-paid men on global television.
Saving of every penny. The Bundys have finally arrived. Today, we get cable TV.
Number 5. Kelly's modeling career. By 1991, Christina Applegate's portrayal of Kelly Bundy had turned her into an international style icon and adolescent heartthrob, with her face plastered across millions of posters, magazine covers, and merchandise items worldwide. But behind the glitz and glamour, Applegate was fighting an intense, agonizing battle against industry objectification and creative exhaustion. Because she was cast at just 15 years old, Applegate essentially spent her entire teenage and early adult years living under the unforgiving microscope of Hollywood producers, media outlets, and aggressive paparazzi. She faced relentless pressure from network executives to maintain a specific physical look, which led to intense clashes between her representation and the studio regarding how her character was written and marketed. Applegate was terrified of being permanently trapped in dumb blonde roles for the rest of her career. To fight back against this narrative, she spent her off-seasons taking on radically different, challenging acting roles in independent films and theater productions, working long, punishing 18-hour days to establish her creative range away from the Fox lot. She fought tirelessly on set to make sure Kelly Bundy possessed a razor-sharp, absurd comedic edge rather than being a mere passive object of male jokes. Applegate's immense determination and work ethic paid off massively after the show ended. She established herself as one of the most respected comedic and dramatic actresses in Hollywood, earning widespread acclaim for her roles in Anchorman, Dead to Me, and Sweet Charity, ultimately proving to the entire entertainment industry that she possessed the talent, intellect, and staying power of a true Hollywood heavyweight.
So, let's just take a look at who's umpiring next week's championship game. Well, geez Louise.
Number 4. Steve Rhodes' departure. David Garrison was a brilliant classical theater actor long before he was cast as the ambitious, suit-wearing neighbor Steve Rhodes on Married with Children. A graduate of the prestigious College Conservatory of Music at the University of Cincinnati, Garrison had built an extraordinary, highly respected career on the Broadway stage, starring in major musical productions like A Day in Hollywood, A Night in the Ukraine, for which he received a Tony Award nomination. When he signed on to Married with Children in 1986, he viewed the television show as a short-term, interesting experiment. But, as the show exploded into a massive, multi-season global phenomenon, Garrison found himself trapped in a rigid, repetitive filming schedule in Los Angeles that kept him completely isolated from his true creative passion, live theater in New York City. During Season 3, Garrison had intense, private conversations with co-creators Michael G. Moya and Ron Levitt. He expressed that he felt the character of Steve Rhodes was becoming increasingly absurd and slapstick, losing the subtle, satirical edge that had drawn him to the role in the first place. Rather than entering a bitter, litigious contract dispute with the studio, Garrison made a decision that shocked Hollywood executives. He voluntarily chose to walk away from a hit, high-paying primetime television series at the absolute peak of its success. Garrison made a few brief guest returns to the show in later seasons as a ranger and college dean, but he immediately returned to his true home on Broadway. He went on to achieve legendary status in the theater world, creating the iconic role of the Wizard in the original touring and Broadway productions of the mega-hit musical Wicked, while also starring in major revivals of Oliver, Titanic, and Snoopy. Garrison proved that artistic fulfillment and creative integrity were worth far more to him than sitcom money, earning lifelong respect across the theatrical world.
I can't believe we're in Florida. Why, if it wasn't for the 1,000-degree heat, the flying palmetto bugs, and the smell of your frying...
Number 3. The Psycho Dad theme song controversy. Al Bundy's total obsession with his favorite fictional Western television show, Psycho Dad, was one of the most brilliant, layered meta-satires ever constructed by writers Michael G. Moya and Ron Levitt. By Season 6, Married with Children was under constant, aggressive assault from real-life media, watchdog groups, television councils, and conservative politicians who blamed the show for destroying traditional American family values. Instead of ignoring their critics, Moya and Levitt created Psycho Dad, a fictional show within the show featuring an ultra-violent cowboy who sings a ridiculous theme song while shooting things as a direct mock parody of the very outrage being directed at their own show. The plotlines featuring Psycho Dad triggered immense hysterical warfare with network executives at Fox. Censors were terrified that the absurdly violent lyrics of the fake Psycho Dad theme song would draw massive fines from the Federal Communications Commission (FCC). Executives sent frantic, multi-page notes demanding the writers tone down the parody, fearing it would ignite another advertiser boycott. Moya and Levitt stood their ground, turning the network's paranoia into fuel for the comedy. They wrote storylines where Al Bundy forms a protest group to save Psycho Dad after it gets cancelled by timid network executives, a direct, hilarious commentary on their own daily battles with Fox leadership. The meta-satire resonated massively with viewers, proving once again that the writers were far more intelligent, self-aware, and tactically brilliant than their harshest critics ever imagined.
Leaving the children.
Well, what's wrong?
There's someone in our room! That's him!
Number 2. The Bundys Go to England arc. By 1992, Married with Children was no longer just an American television hit. It was a global cultural juggernaut, broadcast in over 60 countries and dubbing Al Bundy's crude jokes into dozens of languages. To celebrate the show's international dominance, Fox approved a massive budget for a special 3-part season finale, arc that flew the entire cast and crew across the Atlantic to film on location in London, England. However, behind the scenes, the international shoot was an absolute logistical nightmare. The UK production was plagued by unpredictable weather, massive fan mobs pursuing Ed O'Neill and Christina Applegate through the streets of London, and intense unions clashes between American producers and British crew members over filming hours and equipment usage. Furthermore, the script involved an absurd storyline where a tiny English village called Lower Unction attempts to kill off the Bundy bloodline to lift an ancient medieval curse. British media outlets and local cultural groups caught wind of the plot and viciously attacked the production in local newspapers, accusing the show of pushing crude anti-British stereotypes. Despite the logistical chaos, production delays, and fierce press backlash, the three-part international event pulled in staggering worldwide ratings, solidifying the series as one of the most profitable international television exports in Columbia Pictures history and demonstrating the global power of the show's anti-establishment comedy brand.
Come in. What can we do for you?
Number 1. The protester, the Terry Raccolta moment. This was not merely a controversial scene or a funny episode. This was the single, decisive cultural war that permanently altered the landscape of modern media history forever. In January 1989, Terry Raccolta, a wealthy suburban housewife and activist from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, turned on her television and tuned into Season 3, Episode 10 of Married with Children. Shocked and outraged by the episode's crude humor, tight wardrobe, and irreverent jokes about marriage and family, Raccolta decided to take nuclear action. She launched a massive, highly organized, nationwide letter-writing campaign, demanding that major corporate sponsors pull their commercial advertising dollars from the Fox network immediately. The fallout was swift and terrifying for studio executives. Terrified of a public relations disaster, corporate giants like Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Campbell Soup Company panicked and officially pulled millions of dollars in advertising campaigns from the show. Fox network executives were thrown into complete chaos. Emergency meetings were called on the Sony lot, script censors were given absolute authority to cut lines, and there was serious internal discussion among corporate leadership about canceling Married with Children outright to save the fledgling network's public image. Then, the most extraordinary phenomenon in television history occurred. The Streisand effect, as news of Terry Raccolta's national boycott hit the front pages of the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and National Evening News. Broadcasts, the entire nation suddenly became obsessed with finding out what this wild, banned show was actually about. Millions of curious viewers who had never tuned into the Fox network before switched their TV dials to watch Married with Children. The show's viewership exploded by an unheard of 30% practically overnight. Ratings shot into the stratosphere, converting a struggling, low-budget comedy into a global pop culture titan. In an incredible twist of fate, Terry Raccolta's boycott didn't destroy Married with Children, it saved it. It made stars Ed O'Neill, Katie Sagal, Christina Applegate, and David Faustino instantly bulletproof. The massive ratings boom allowed co-creators Michael G. Moya and Ron Levitt to command unprecedented creative freedom, completely immune to network censorship for the rest of their historic 11-season run. The cast and crew sent Terry Raccolta a massive bouquet of flowers every single year on the anniversary of her boycott, fully aware that her moral crusade was the exact catalyst that built their careers, made them immensely wealthy, and secured their permanent place in the history of American pop culture. Married with Children didn't just break the rules of American television, it took those rules, tossed them onto the floor, and danced all over them. It proved to the world that audiences didn't want perfect, artificial television families telling them how to live. They wanted the raw, funny, unfiltered truth, served with a massive side of sarcasm, a dark laugh, and a very dirty pair of shoes. It paved the direct creative pathway for every anti-sitcom and edgy comedy that followed, establishing a legacy that will never be duplicated. Now, I want to hear directly from you, the true television historians. If Married with Children premiered for the very first time on primetime television today, would it survive past its pilot episode, or would social media cancel it within the first 5 minutes? And which Bundy moment was so extreme that it made your jaw drop? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Right now, I personally read every single comment, and the most sharp, controversial take gets pinned right to the top of the video. Before you click away, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, subscribe to Comedalgia TV on YouTube, and follow our official Facebook page right now to make sure you never miss our deep dives into the wild, untold history of your favorite classic television shows. Thank you for watching, stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next documentary.